Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. In this video I am going to dismantle my arcade game I have set up. What you see here is a modified power supply hooked up to a cheapo board. This board uses a JAMMA connection. What a JAMMA connection does is it supplies both power and data to the board, so it could talk to your cabinet if you have a JAMMA cabinet. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all this out and then I am going to attach it to my old E-machine here. Now the reason I'm doing that is because I want two machines running two different things at once. Now, in this video I'm going to show you how I take everything apart and I'm going to show you how to attach it to the E-machine. So to get started, this is very easy to do. So I am going to move the camera a little bit here. Alright, it's still focused. Open the door a little bit. No, that's not going to work. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the zip tie here. Now, the way I have this hooked up is the way you would not find it in an arcade. This is a homebrew machine, so some of the stuff may be hooked up kind of funny. So now that the power strip is turned off, I'm just going to unplug the stuff just in case I accidentally turn the power strip on. There will be no power getting to the devices I'm trying to disconnect. So on this board right here, I'm not sure if you could see it, there is a VGA port. This has VGA output. And disconnect that. Disconnect the USB. Now the USB is for this. That's up here. I'm not sure if you could see it. Is for that. So now, over here, I have so we're going to pull the power supply out, and I'll explain a little bit about that in a minute. Let me pull this fan out. Oh, that was my sound cable. Okay, so a little bit about this power supply here. You see this wire hanging out right here? What happened is I was building this. I modified it. As you can see, there's only one connection. What happened is it had a clear blue fan in there, which I really liked. But I was soldering something and I forgot the soldering iron was on. And I put it and I burned it, so I had to take the fan out and put in another one. This is actually a case fan that I put in there. Now, under normal circumstances, you do not, under any circumstances, do that. So, if this was real expensive hardware, you could do other stuff, but it's not. So, all right. So now I am going to grab my screwdriver here. And I'm going to, sorry about the camera rattling there. This screwdriver right here, I've used more than any other screwdriver I've had for the computer stuff here. Alright, so now I have it bolted to the cabinet. Now, in a JAMMA cabinet, such as a DDR cabinet, that's Dance Dance Revolution for those of you that don't know, they would have it up against this wall right here. But unless you're running ITG, stands for In the Groove, the Dedicabs, the MK hardware sits like this. Now I'm not going to show any me playing this because this is the technical aspect of what I'm doing here. Alright, so I have these 2 screws here. These are wood screws. And I have 2 of them. So when I get the drill out, I'm going to have to modify my E-machine case here to get it in. So now the board will come out. And I'll show you that real closely. Okay, so here we go. Now right here, this is powered by an SD card. This is an IDE hookup. So that's why I have to wire in an IDE hookup to the power supply. This is your sound. This is for a trackball. The USB for the controller, and this is used since it's manually controlled. You have dip switches. Now, dip switches are very, very old hardware. This is a cheap board. It's $40, but it works really well. Okay, so I have my VGA. And now I have, that's my sound cable, so I'm going to put that up over there. Now I got to clean it out. So what I got to do is I'm going to cut the zip tie here since I'm not. Alright, so I have to cut the zip tie there. And then I'm going to have to clean the bottom of the cabinet. But I'll do that at a later time. What I'm going to do now is cut that, and then I'm going to turn the camera around and I'm going to modify my E-machine here to accept these screws. Now I'm not going to drill all the way through it. I just need to get through the first layer here. Alright, so anyway, I'll leave that alone for right now so I'm not messing with it too much. Put these screws right there. Okay, so now we're going to turn around here and I'm going to face this at the E-machine. So this is the E-machine you saw me do the Windows XP installation on. Now what I'm doing here is I'm going to get this board to attach to this. Now that's really close to the power supply. So I'm going to put it on a bit of an angle so that doesn't happen. So the drill I'm going to be using is a Ryobi. Now in a normal circumstances, no arcade owner is going to do what I'm going to do. There we go. So this is the best birthday present anyone could get someone like me. So what I'm going to do because what will happen is if I have it straight out, forget it. I'll go right through the power supply, and I don't need to do that. Now, as someone who works in the manufacturing industry here, always wear your safety glasses. Whew. And it's going to be hot, so yes, I am okay. I got to deburr that. So now it's time for the second hole here. Oh, is that? Oh no, okay, that's far away from the board. Just wanted to make sure. Oh, that was a lot easier. Okay, so there we go. I like this drill. Okay, so now what I'll do, hopefully the holes are not too big. There we go. It's not going to go anywhere. And nothing got damaged. Yeah, I will have to there we go. So that's not going to go anywhere. So now, oh, here they are. So you're wondering what this piece is right here. What this is going to go into the board just like this. I know I have the power strip turned off, but I'm being cautious. So that goes in there just like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull, I just pulled the hard drive connection out. That was dumb. Alright, so I should have, I thought I had another IDE line. Turns out I do. But I'm going to create one here. Alright, so I hooked that up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to unravel the tape on here. hopefully there's enough wire on this particular one that I could just, oh, it has this. I hate this like sheathing, because I can't get to the wires now. But what I'm going to do is, since here's what I can do. Actually, I really want to do something custom here, but oh, I can. Okay. Should be. Okay, there's the other. These are your ground wire. And it doesn't matter how you hook them up, but I do recommend there we go. Like if it's red, black, black, yellow. Go. Alright, so now I take this, go like this, there we go. There we go. All I have to do is the red one, and we are good. There we go. So now you do red with red. Black with black. Now if you cross them, that could lead to a lot of problems you don't want. Alright, so now I take the electrical tape and I go around it just like that, and something came loose here. Just like that. So now I redo this. Take some more electrical tape. All right. You want everything covered. Okay. A little bit more. So now what you do is you tape these together. Just like this. And you're asking yourself, why are you making a huge connection? I do individual one and I tape it up so that way there's no issue. If there is an issue, it's not going to affect the rest of the machine. Alright, so now that is hooked up. Okay, so this is the fan. So now what we're going to do is we're going to power it on and see what happens. So, that's why I put a 400. Alright, so here we go. It's just dust. Nothing got down in here when I drilled out. It all got up here. And I'm letting it run for a bit to make sure there's no smoke or anything like that. And there is not. Board isn't smoking. Okay, so now I gotta grab some cleaner and I gotta clean the cabinet out. First, gotta tie my shoes so I don't fall flat on my face here. This stuff works wonders. It's all-purpose cleaner. You can get it at, oh, sorry, let me get it in view here. You can get it at your local grocery store or any other stores that have it. Alright, so I'm going to turn this around here. Alright, so there we go. So at the back I sprayed a little bit of cleaner just to get the dust off. I know I did clean this cabinet yesterday. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect this. Now what this is right here, this is actually used for headphones, but what the problem was is when I used the internal speakers on this monitor, the ohms resistance on the board was too much, so I couldn't use the onboard volume control. So I had to get that. I got that from Amazon. It was like $6. It was it was dirt cheap. I do recommend it if you do have a problem with sound, or even if you have headphones that have issues. If they have integrated volume control and it goes out, I do recommend you buy that. So now I gotta remove this. Alright, so let me try the other one here. There we go. So now I just go over here and just have to do that again. I forgot I put like 4 zip ties down to hold that power supply. Actually, I'll use these snips. I'll take care of that later. So I'll clean it again. I'm going to remove the power strip here. So what I'll do is I'll make a hole down for the power strip. That's what I'll do. Okay. So now, this is going to go over here now. It's not that long, fortunately. Alright. Let me clean it again. What I'll do is I'll do the DDR cap thing, and I'll put it right in the middle. So the power strip goes over there. Let me just make sure I didn't damage it. I did not. Okay. So I only have 2 cords, physical electric, going in there. I have the monitor and I have the computer. So now what I got to do is cut the power to the machine. get anything liquid out of the way so I don't short the computer out. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of these. Okay, so now I'm going to slide the camera back a little bit, if I can. Whoop, I covered the light up. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay it in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill holes through the feet here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to physically bolt the computer to the cabinet. Now, in the arcade, that's the way they physically do it. It's bolted. So what I'm going to do now is take all this stuff and throw it in the back here. What I'll do is I'll grab it. Whoops. I still have it hooked up to KVM switch for my testing stuff. Okay, so the front's back on. We're going to drop this in here just like this. So I got to figure out how to route stuff now, because I'm going to leave it like that for a minute. I'm going to run everything out this way for the time being until I could get a good setup. Because I still want the doors to close, but I also need enough room to get behind it if I need to. So, you know, I can always slide it out. So that works quite well. But what I might do is I might turn it on an angle a little bit. So then this way, because if I turn it on an angle, I'll have access to everything. So now I could still close the door. There we go. So now what I got to do, but then the board is too close to the wall. So now what I got to do is I got to figure, because you need space. Actually, what I can do is I'll put it real close to the power strip here. There we go. So now I'm going to slide the camera back, and I'm going to close it. I'm going to put everything in there. Now I'm going to close it. It's going to clear. Cool. Because it just goes on the outside. Alright, so that door will clear. But here's the problem. If I bolt this down, I need to be able to move it. Then this way, if I have to take it apart for some reason, it'll be okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to bolt it down. because that'll make more work for me if I have to repair it. Okay, so now what I got to do, find the power cords here. If this was a true arcade cabinet, I would do things differently, but it is not. And I'm not going to pretend that it is. Alright, so we're going to hook this into here. Alright, so now what we do, for right now, this has the PlayStation hookup. That's not what I'm using it for. Okay, so now what I do, get this, plug that into there. Now what I do, take the connection coming from the speakers in the monitor and put it over there just like that. So all I need is, oh, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my USB keyboard before I power it on. So then this way I can adjust what I need to adjust. At some point in time I will put a KVM switch to this so I can play both at the same time. It's just that I have multiple projects going on, so I'm doing this one right now. So I'm going to put that in there just like that. I'm going to take the side of the case here and there we go. And yes, on the MK hardware, which is what Andamiro uses for its games, we'll do that. Okay, so now I'm going to power it on. Now I do not have a keyboard hooked up to it, so it's going to boot when I power it on. Okay, so now that the monitor is booting, okay, so now I got to adjust that. Make sure the cable did not come out. Oh, it did. There we go. So now make sure the sound cable didn't come out. Okay, so I hooked it into the right one. So now that that works, I'm going to power it off. That's how you want your arcade game to power off. So I'm going to power it on again, and I'm going to let it boot just to see what it'll do. Make sure it boots right, make sure it boots in, make sure I can play music with it. This will not be connected to the internet, so Here we go again. There we go. And I'm making it XP based. Alright, so now I got that set up. So now I'm using the internal speakers on the monitor. So what I have to do now is I have to hook up a keyboard so I can get into the BIOS and set it up so when I turn the power strip on, the computer will power on as well. As you can see, it's working. So I'm going to put everything back in. There we go. Okay, so I got sound, I got all that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my roll-up keyboard here. You've seen me use this several times. And a good book, I know, insult to injury. And what we're going to do is we are going to go into the BIOS and set everything up. And the reason I want to do that is so I want this to boot up like a real arcade game here. Alright, there we go. Now I'm going to use my USB mouse that somebody gave me. Somebody got it for buying something and that's as far as it's going to go. Alright, so Windows key. Okay, there we go. So now I hooked up the mouse to speed up the process. We're going to restart. I'm going to use a power toy on this to turn the XP login sound off. Okay, so we're going to go into power management setup on here. Alright, so you see where it says power on after power fail? What that is basically when the power comes back on, the computer reboots. All arcade games are set up like that. They use a regular computer. The new DDR series, Pump It Up, PIU for short, that's how they set that up. So if something happens to the CMOS battery, it will not power on. But meanwhile, the monitor and extra lights will. Alright, so we're going to do this. Power on. Alright, so we're going to save it. F10. Oh, we're going to escape. And F10 doesn't work on this one. We're going to do save and exit setup. Yes. But I'm just doing the basic setup for right now. Okay, I'm going to count to 10 and then I'm going to do it. Count another 10. Here we go. You heard it power on. That is what you want. So there you have it. This is the setup of my arcade game. I don't know what software I'm going to put on here yet. But anyway, that is it for this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe.